Today is August 19, 2024. This is session number 24 of Discovering the Essence of Nonviolent Communication with Jim and Jori Manske. I turn it to you and welcome.
It's very lovely. Thank you for that, Marta. And I'm really pleased to see all of you here. And we'll see what we all learn together, because I think we're ongoing learning also. We're not here just to teach you something, like 1 and 1 is 2, but rather see where we grow together.
Yeah, as Marta mentioned, today our class is the 24th class in a series that we began back in March, and we've been working our way through a set of skills called the Pathways to Liberation, Matrix of Self-Assessment. Today we're going to be focusing on beneficial regrets. And I gave you all who were here last week homework to think about to actually go out and make a mistake. And I doubt anybody had any trouble with the homework.
If they even remembered.
Yeah, and which could be a mistake. So,
that's right.
It's a win-win. And so we'll dive into that in a few minutes. It's a practice group, so there's lots of practice. We'll be doing some writing today, as well as a chance to be in small groups to talk about what you're learning and to practice with each other. So we'll be doing all 3 of these different ways of living and practicing NVC: the self-connection part, the empathy part, which is the listening part, and the honesty part, which is the speaking part. So we'll get a chance to do all that today. And I'm feeling, what am I feeling? I'm feeling glad that you're here. I'm feeling hopeful. I'm on this pathway towards more well-being with my health. Today we went to the dermatologist and got zapped with a few, they use this liquid nitrogen thing to burn stuff off. And so I had a few of those little things zapped on me. And some of them were right up here on the top of my head. So I feel like now my crown chakra, anything about Hinduism, my crown chakra has been opened up. Now I'm completely enlightened.
I was already enlightened. I didn't get so many of those shots.
And so tomorrow I have another test where they're going to stick a tube down my throat and take a peek. And that's a big step on the way towards doing.
You got a heart up there.
Yeah, I see it. Doing the surgery at the end of next month. So it's still kind of winding through the system, but feeling lots of anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank you,
unless there's something up for anybody, we'll go ahead and start with self-connection exercise, starting with Happy Ron singing us a song on the theme today of regret. And then I'll lead you through a little meditation and then invite you to go to small groups. Ron?
Hi, thank you so very much. This is a song I wrote with Jason Duke, who's a #1 hit songwriter, and got some good regret going here. Thought I saw a patch of greener grass. Now all I want is to hop on over back to the side of the fence where you used to be. I was in your arms and you were loving me. Now you've moved on with your life. You found someone new who's making you smile. You're still friends with all our friends. We're drinking all our bars. Wherever I am seems like everywhere you are. I never would have hit you with goodbye. Boys make mistakes like that all the time. Found out too late that ain't what they want. Wish I had known that you would still be here after you're gone. I got queen size sheets where I still reach for you, and a shotgun seat my eyes keep reaching for, swerving to. There ain't a single road anywhere in this town. It ain't a memory lane I'm always rolling down. I never would have hit you with goodbye. Boys make mistakes like that all the time. Found out too late that ain't what they want. Wish I had known that you would still be here after you're gone. Hard to turn you into a memory when it always feels like you're right next to me. tears in your eyes. Maybe you'd be here with me tonight. I found out freedom ain't the thing I want. Wish I had known. And I never would have hit you with goodbye. Boys make mistakes like that all the time. Found out too late that that ain't what they want. Wish I had known that you would still be here after you're gone. Thanks so much. Happy Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
So notice how your body responds to that song. Some people find it helpful to close their eyes. That's optional. You trust yourself. But tune into sensations in your body.
Mhm.
If you're noticing enjoyable sensations, it's an indication that some needs of yours have been fed. If you're noticing uncomfortable sensations, it means you are needing something. And then going a little deeper and noticing emotions. What's alive in your entire emotional experience? Again, pleasant feelings are signals of satisfied needs. Uncomfortable feelings, signals of unsatisfied needs. Pure information. And these feelings are pointing us to needs. So what need are you noticing is alive in you now? It may be different than when you were listening to the song, because this is a new moment. What needs are alive in you in this moment? If this is a puzzling question for you, you can't really find a word to describe the need, that's fine. Just notice the energy of your needs. That's the important part. We're learning to be with this energy, the energy of our universal human needs. That's our gateway to connection with ourselves and with others. You just might think about what needs were you hoping to meet when you decided to come here today. Maybe it's about learning, community, connection, fun, information, belonging, empathy, self-expression. These are just some of the needs I've heard from folks that they're hoping to meet when they come here. What's it about for you in this moment? And settling into that energy and savoring it. Savoring means to deeply enjoy the pleasure of this energy. And it becomes a place where we can utilize to discover what will make life more wonderful from now on. What step or steps can we take to fulfill the needs that are important to us? What is our request? If your eyes have been closed, you can choose to open them now if you want to. If your eyes have been opened, I guess you could choose to close them. It's up to you. I really want to acknowledge your autonomy as a human being to find ways to meet your needs. It's fun to see at least two people taking a sip at the exact same moment on the screen. Ocean and Dale. Half a world apart, connecting with the thing that human beings do. So let's go to small groups for about 15 minutes and connect. It's your chance to talk and listen. So the speaking part of NVC, you get to express your honesty, how you are in the moment. You could talk about the song, what you liked, what you didn't like. You could talk about the exercise, what you liked, what you didn't like. You could talk about something else that's alive in you. Everybody has about 5 minutes to express. And that means that there's about 10 minutes when you're getting to practice empathy, the listening part of NVC. So empathy requires no words. There's nothing that comes out of your ears. It's an input place, and the heart is the receiver for empathy. So just attuning to the needs of the speaker. So no need to respond unless they ask you for something. You could respond to any request that the speaker has. That might be important.
And to also make space for everybody else. And it's helpful if there's someone who gives the person who's speaking information about when it's their turn to listen rather than speak. So just about 5 minutes each.
Okay. See you back here in about 15 minutes. For being here, everybody. I hope you enjoy getting a chance to connect with some fellow NVC practitioners, practicing honesty and empathy together. If anybody would like to share a little bit about that experience, we do that next. And I want to just acknowledge that speaking in front of 65 other people might be scary. And so it might put you right on your edge. And I know that not everybody's comfortable speaking in front of large groups, but you're actually only talking to your computer. So in a way, you're talking just to yourself. In another way, you're talking to all of us. So, maybe just try it and see what it's like to express. The reason that I ask is because it's just fun for me to hear everybody's voice. It's just creates a sense of connection, and it's just different than, I love looking at your faces, and hearing your voice is very special for me. Guihua?
You want to unmute? There she is.
Jim and Jori. I'm now with Sophia in the breakout room. Yeah. The moment I saw her, I know Sophia is the Sophia you mentioned to encourage me. Yeah. After 15 minutes, yeah, I'm so empowered and inspired. So here I come to speak in the bigger room. Yeah. and we wanted to be friends with each other. Yeah, and thanks to Martha to come into our breakout room to offer help. Yeah, I enjoyed the breakout room time with Sophia. Yeah. Thank you, Sophia.
Nice. Thank you.
Uh,
Very sweet.
thank you for sharing with us, Gui Hua. Both just to acknowledge both Gui Hua and Sophia. Some of you may not have met them before, but they are not easy with English. English is not easy for them. So they really work extra hard to be here in our practice group. And I've learned so much from Sophia has been coming here for 4 years on and off, and she has created all kinds of translation strategies to support her and in communicating in both directions.
Yeah, and that supports everybody else that comes in and connects with her. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. And Sophia, by the way, is winding her way on her certification journey. She's in her pre-assessment phase and moving towards her assessment event. So it's really exciting to have another Japanese speaker on the verge of becoming a certified trainer.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Who else would like to
Right
speak?
there on the left.
That's Marta.
Oh, that's
Go ahead, Marta.
Thank you. Yes, it was like a mistake to put Sophia and Gui Hua in the same breakout room, because I always check and prepare a special room for both of hers. And when I noticed they were alone, I didn't realize that I put them in the same breakout. And I thought, oh, it was a mistake. But when I arrived to the room and they say me they were happy to be there, I was so happy about that mistake. And I celebrate that mistake.
Yeah. Wow. Wonderful.
Nice.
Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Yeah, maybe every mistake has something sweet
Yeah,
within it. Thank you,
one could
Martha.
only hope.
Gustavo?
And thank you, Jim. I want to share that it was very hard for me to give empathy without reflecting or mirroring the person. I feel and I feel the inclination to mirror and to say what I was hearing and to give empathy to the members of my group and what they were sharing, how they feel in that moment, and what were their needs. So it was pretty hard for me to just stay silent and
Yeah.
not be present, because it was I enjoyed being present, but being present without saying anything was hard. And I want to
Yeah.
share that.
Yeah.
I want to share
Yeah.
that.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it's a stretch sometimes as we get some muscles that we build, and that's one of those muscles.
Yeah, really catch
Yeah.
that you notice the difficulty
Mhm.
in being silent like that. And
Mhm.
you felt that pull. I'm guessing that came from a deep need to contribute, the empathy that you were experiencing and really longing to let the others know that you were connected to their feelings and needs. Is that close?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Jim. It was exactly that. Yes.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's a gift to speak up, and sometimes it's a gift to be silent. And it's not like there's one thing that's always the right idea. And as we keep practicing, we learn to trust ourselves.
Mhm.
And then we also learn to trust that the other person will let us know if what we're choosing in the moment isn't really working for them.
Mhm.
Yeah, Sherry.
So thank you for sharing that, by the way, because what you experienced is not foreign to other people, including us sometimes. Thank you.
Yeah, Sherry.
I'm coming. It's like report to the teacher. I'm coming again. Thanks for Jim, your explanation for Gui Hua before, for any translation support or efforts, how the Chinese or Guihua, or I guess if there are somebody else from China, they might take a lot of efforts to join the global discussion. Here is my request. That's why I'm just raising my hands. Last time I met Guihua once, so now it's not only for Guihua, but for everybody from China group. I am not really very fluent verbal English talking person, but verbal English was my working language before when I work with global team. So anyway, here is my request for my lovely Chinese people. Here, when I join this group, of course, my small ego said, Sherry, I want to please myself. So join everybody, no matter where you are. But meanwhile, if my Chinese people, you feel alone, you want to have some Chinese to be beside you, please just tell me, Sherry, or tell Marcia, when we have breakout, you can ask to be bundled with me. We can join with others. So for me, this strategy meet me for I please myself, and also I can support our Chinese. That's my request for Chinese groups.
Thank you. And thank you
Nice.
for offering that contribution, Sherry. And as far as English proficiency, I must say you seem very proficient to me, and so much more proficient than I am in Chinese, which has about maybe 15 words. So I'm very grateful for your offer. Thank you.
And if you do want to be in a room speaking a different language than English, you can put that language right after your name, and that will help to organize the people who speak that language together.
Thank you. And speaking of China, Elaine?
Yes. And thank you, Jim, and thank you, Sherry. I'm the other person from China, your Chinese friend. So it's good that I have raised my hand, continuing with after Sherry. I enjoyed the breakout room discussion with Isabel and also Dale, because we have practiced self-empathy and also empathy, and also be honest to what we want to share. And I feel when I first joined at very beginning, joined the breakout room, I feel a little bit tense, but when I saw the face from Isabel and also the smile from Dale, I feel very comfortable and happy, because we have met in Bali IIT last year. So I feel connected, and also very happy that we have practiced in our 15 minutes in our small group.
Nice.
Yes, and I also want to thank Guihua, because her brave behavior. Most of the time I'm in this meeting, I will keep silence because English is not my first language. But today, Guihua has raised her hand and shared her voice. So this behavior also encouraged me to raise my hand and share what I want to share in this big group. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. It's wonderful to hear your voice.
Yeah, wonderful. And I see that you have a symbol after your name, and that's the language that you would like?
It's Chinese.
Is that Chinese?
Chinese, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that's symbol.
Yes.
Great,
Thanks.
thank you.
And something tells me that the guy with his hand raised is not named iPhone, but we'll call you iPhone as a nickname.
Or
What a
something else.
bummer.
Sure.
I thought I had changed it. My name is David.
Hey,
Hi,
David.
David.
Hi. This is my third NVC class, and first time speaking.
Hmm.
And it's just been wonderful so far. And today I had a meeting prior to this, and the person knew I had a 7 o'clock hard cut so I could be here. And it went long. He just wasn't stopping. And so I was late, and the song had ended. And I'm like, man, I really regret I didn't hold my boundary. And was really feeling that, and feeling like I have a need today to learn and grow more in this practice so I can honor my needs and feelings. And I go to the breakout room, and the partner in there was sharing that the song was about regrets. And I just started laughing. I'm like, this is too funny. Like, I was feeling regretful that I didn't make it, and I missed the song about regrets. And as a result, I get to learn and grow. And it felt very like cosmically humorous. And it's all unfolding perfectly. So that's my share.
Thanks, David. I'm really glad.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to hear your
Thank
voice.
you.
Glad to hear you're getting your needs met here.
Yeah.
And we'll finish with
Yes.
Umesh, and then we'll go to, we'll see
Our
what we can
practice,
learn. Yeah,
yeah.
we'll start practicing. Go ahead, Umesh.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to today's session. Okay, since for 1 week. Okay, beneficial regret, because I think, okay, I have a lot of them and I keep on accumulating them. Okay, so this session, I'm hoping it will be very helpful. Second thing is, okay, I realized, no, I went through the mail and then I discovered that, okay, I have all these recording materials are available in my account under the courses. And that is like, okay, I suddenly discovered a gold mine.
Merry Christmas, huh? All of a sudden, it's
Yes,
like your
yes.
birthday, you got all these gifts.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, Santa Claus has arrived.
Thanks a lot. Okay,
Well,
this is
yeah,
going to
you're
be
welcome.
wonderful. Get to go back.
Yes.
Give
And thanks
this-
to Marta, who takes everything that we write and puts it into the classroom and makes it available to you all and organizes everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Martha.
And Gustavo, is that a fresh hand? You want to, or is that an old hand? Your pal. Okay, cool. All right, so let's, I'm going to share my screen with you, and we'll practice a little bit. That's interesting.
That's the plan anyway. There you go.
Yeah, so today I'm not sharing it yet.
Oh.
For some reason, it's not showing up on the share screen. But it will here eventually, I'm pretty sure.
By the way, this is water.
You're
I'm not getting drunk.
There it goes. Okay, beneficial regret. You should see a picture of a train falling off of a building.
Oy. Oh, hey.
And so the name of the skill is beneficial regret, acknowledging and learning from one's missed opportunity to meet needs without guilt, shame, or self-punishment. And the photographs that we use, or the images that we use on this deck, come from someone that I met at a practice group, Kenneth Enright. And Jori, you can't turn the fan off over there, no matter how many buttons you. Okay.
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 Sorry.
Okay, here we go. So let's
Okay.
start over again. So yeah, today's class is beneficial regret. I just want to acknowledge Kenneth, who created these images that go with the cards. And when I saw this today and I thought about regret, it tuned me into some family history. My family, one half of my family on my grandmother's side of my father's mother's side, came over in about the 1860s from Germany to the United States, but they entered in through Canada. And they boarded a train heading for Wisconsin. There's a big potato famine in Europe and in Germany during the middle part of the 19th century. And so there are a lot of immigrants coming over from Germany, including my family. So they boarded this train heading for Wisconsin. And the engineer of the train fell asleep while he was driving the train. And the train had a terrible crash that probably looked a little bit like this, only worse, because the train plunged 60 feet, that'd be about 20 meters, into a ravine. And it's the worst railroad disaster in Canadian history. Somehow, my tough old ancestors survived the crash. And but I was thinking about what it must have been like. I don't know whether the engineer survived or not, but I was empathizing with what it might have been like to be the one in charge of the train, and imagining the quality of regret that he might have felt, and knowing the way we've been educated. He probably was feeling a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, a lot of just maybe even horror and terror about the consequences that he might suffer as a result of this mistake. And I was thinking, okay, so it's clear the needs that were not met, which were for protection, for safety, for some quality of competence, and so forth. But what need of his was he trying to meet when he fell asleep? And that's also clear. He must have been exhausted. And he might have even tried to go to sleep. He might have, or maybe he had some sort of a disease or whatever that caused him to pass out in that moment. But so he was doing the best he could to take care of himself. And that's what led to this train crash. And so regret is all around us. Every day we make all kinds of mistakes. And this is the pathway that we follow as we learn to integrate regret more fully into our lives. It starts with lots of guilt and shame. And research shows that there's kind of two main cultural threads: a guilt-centered culture, which is common in the West, and a shame-based culture, which seems to be more common in the East. I grew up in a shame-based culture in the South, in Atlanta. It's very shame-based down there, and so it's deep in me, and I'm still working with shame. So I'm 68 years old, and I imagine I'll be working with shame until the day I die, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. And the other thing that we do when we're just awakened, when we're unskilled, is we become very defensive, and we apologize protectively. So these are some of the symptoms of having some work to do around transforming beneficial regret. Then eventually we wake up to this idea that feelings are caused by needs, not by observations. And as a result of that, we might think that it's other people's responsibility when we do something that they don't like. So there's not a sense of shared responsibility yet. And then eventually we kind of wind around to this much more capable phase where we realize that mistakes are opportunities for learning. And mistakes are also opportunities for connection. That's what we're going to be working with today. And then as we become more and more competent, more often we'll taste this consistent willingness to own our own part of what's going on, the impact that we might have had on another person, as well as to acknowledging their part in whatever happens. So it's more of a shared responsibility. And our willingness to express that regret. And we're going to hopefully have time to practice that today. So here is what was on our refrigerator for about 15 years when we were first learning NVC. We never do anything wrong. We never have. We never will. We do things we wouldn't have done if we knew then what we're learning now. And the fun thing about life is that will always be the case. So just take that in for a moment. I'll be quiet while you can kind of read it and see how it lands in you.
Yeah, Marshall Rosenberg.
Doesn't feel like that to me sometimes. It really feels like I've done something wrong, because that's the way that I was educated. That's the way I was programmed when I was a little boy.
And most of us.
Yeah. And so transforming this right, wrong thinking is really the essence of NVC. So let's practice doing that right now. Think of an action that you took that you wish you had not done. And think of something that's kind of on a lower end of the spectrum of intensity, you know, in the 1 to 3 range, so that you can stay present for the practice.
1 to 3 out of 5. So
Yeah.
not
Choose something on the easy side. Yes, somebody have something that you're asking? No, okay. And then write down the observation. Describe what happened. Just write down what you saw or heard.
You might notice that we put this in the chat, and each of the steps will be in there for you to be able to follow everything easily.
So sometimes I get feedback that it's helpful if I give an example to maybe stimulate your own thinking. So just in case that's true for you, recently, maybe every day, I can't think of a specific time today, but it probably has happened. I will speak to Jori in what I would call a snippy tone of voice. And what I mean by that is there's gosh, it's hard to make it observational, but it's like
You'll express your annoyance.
expressing my annoyance. But I imagine that if a voice could have a sneer, there would be a slight sneer to the voice. So it's just not quite a normal tone of voice. It's maybe slightly louder or more quick. So there's an element of impatience to it. So that would be it. I spoke to Jori and we'll use shortcut in a snippy tone of voice. Jeff, you have a question?
Yeah, for this practice, Jim, is it important that we're talking about a regret of something that we did? Because what's coming to mind for me is something that I didn't do that I regret not doing.
That should work. That should work.
Yeah.
That should work as well.
Thank you.
Try
Yes,
it.
that
Try it and
works
let us
well.
know how it
Yeah.
works at the end.
Thanks.
About another minute or so to think about this and set down just a brief note of description, just enough to help you stay connected for the rest of the exercise.
When we say write down an observation, we're talking about what we see or what we hear. Sometimes it's taste, touch, smell, but mostly what we saw or what we hear.
Second question. Put your pencil down or your pen or your fingers if you're typing and just be with the memory of doing whatever it is that you did or didn't do. In Jeff's case. And allow yourself to connect to the feelings that are arising. Feelings are sensations and emotions. So as I do that, I just notice a disappointment, feeling of disappointment. Right on the edge of crestfallen. And just have such a, I don't want to go into story here, so I'll just stick with the feelings. Sad.
The one I feel is disappointment. My own disappointment.
If I picked something beyond the three, I might be more into the land of guilt or shame. Whatever it is that you notice, just allow it to be. Just allow yourself to feel it. This goes against the grain of what we usually do when we feel discomfort. We try to move away from the discomfort. But in this case, we're going to try to learn from the discomfort. So we're going to get curious about the discomfort. You might have thinking coming up. Just let the thoughts go. Move back into the body. Just be with sensations and emotions. And give yourself permission to be a human being. Human beings feel feelings. We feel uncomfortable when we make a mistake. And then consider what needs you're trying to meet. What was your positive intention when you said what you said or didn't do what you didn't do? What need were you saying yes to? I noticed that in the moment of speaking in the way I spoke, I was feeling impatient. And I think my need was for some kind of, it was about connection, like some kind of mutual understanding or connection. So something up in this range in the empathy range for me. That's the need I was hoping to meet. It's trying to convey something. Could have been something around focus, trying to connect around focus. What was it about for you? When you find a need or needs, just again, be with that expression of your humanity. Human beings have needs. We share these needs with all other human beings. Allow yourself to need. This being with the need, sometimes called savoring. It's just a really sweet part of the healing process. To open yourself to enjoy the experience of being a human with needs. Now, remembering your action or inaction again, what need of yours was not met or not fed when you said or did what you did or didn't say or didn't do? What need of yours are you regretting not feeding? In my case, I wasn't meeting my own need for love. Harmony. That's what lands for me, love and harmony. What lands for you? And again, savoring these needs. Opening your heart to have both needs that you were trying to meet, your positive intention, your life affirming intention, as well as the needs that were not fed. See if you can make a heart big enough to hold both the needs you were hoping to meet and the needs that you realize in this moment were not met. And savor these needs. So sweet when people put their needs into the chat and let us savor them with you. Thank you.
Authenticity, connection. His heart, I think, moved it too quickly. His heart.
Those are the feelings.
Was.
Yeah. To be heard. So anyone like to share about how you are right now in this part of the beneficial regret process? This is the self-empathy part that we've been focusing on.
And I'll just name what I see: love, sustenance, well-being, respect, consideration, acceptance, harmony, trust, cooperation, interdependence.
Jeff?
Thank you. The thing that I didn't do was call the police or a security officer after being rear-ended in a parking lot. And what I was my intention was for the other person to be protected from fear of punishment. I wanted to add calm and ease to their experience by not calling. And I neglected my own need for protection, comfort, and justice. And so I can learn from that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah. Really
Yeah.
touched by your story and your connection to the needs that both were behind your positive intention
Mhm.
and the mourning that you have of the unmet needs and caring for yourself. Yeah.
And they were really-
Thanks for the practice. It's helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Arnima?
The feeling that is alive in me right now as I go through this is a sense of tenderness for myself. I think that I'm really struggling with my daughter, with walking the talk, because most of the time, well, very often I find myself threatening her. And the situation that I picked up was where I said, I told you so. And I did not meet my need for love for her. I mean, my need for being loving, understanding, acceptance, and contribution, consideration, respect for her, recognizing her autonomy, and being compassionate about giving her compassion when I saw her doing something that she was doing. Yeah. So when I come face to face with these needs and recognize the needs that I was trying to meet, I feel a sense of tenderness for myself.
Mhm.
And I'm grateful for that space.
Mhm.
Sweet.
Yeah, very sweet. Thank you for sharing that and that care that you
Yeah.
give yourself. Yeah,
Thank you.
as you do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kwan?
Okay, so I regret that I didn't take care of myself in buying a car. And I needed their cooperation, and it was lunchtime and I was getting tired and hungry, and we were looking at 18 pages and of sales document. And I thought that if I didn't cooperate with them, they might not sell me the car. And I let my need for hunger and thirst and tiredness and well-being and not to be rushed and to do things more slowly. I let those needs, I didn't take good care of myself. I didn't have the autonomy that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm now looking at how to fix some of that, if possible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for acknowledging to yourself your own clarity and also sharing it to us.
Well, yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, and I think the thing that I learned in doing this was that I was really needing their cooperation and thinking that I wasn't going to get it unless I did it on their timetable.
Mhm.
So I just need to be aware of that.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Yeah. So maybe another need there for just awareness, growth. You know, I mean, what comes up for me about that is how often, because of the way we've been educated, we just put our needs on some shelf somewhere, and we don't really advocate for our needs in the way that we could. And it's like a constant learning for me to speak up for my own needs.
Well, I remember saying that I was hungry and that I wanted to go to lunch. And he said, "Oh no, the finance guy is right here and right now, and you need to do it right now."
Oh
And
boy.
so I remember saying, I did get it out of my mouth, but I just couldn't stand up for myself enough to
Right.
go to lunch at that time.
Yeah. Boy,
Right.
that really resonates for me. I've had 10,000 of those experiences.
Yeah, they touch often in very young parts of us when it's not okay to do anything other than what we're told to do.
To be obedient to authority. A
Exactly.
finance man, as if you like,
Yeah.
somehow we elected him to take care of our lunch.
I know. Thank you for putting it into context. Like making him the authority figure. And
Yes,
he's
we
younger
do
than
that.
me.
We
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So so selling myself short. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, because I think that's not foreign to all of us at some points in our lives. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was only my upbringing. My abusive parents. My parents had always wanted me to do what they wanted to do, and my needs were always on the shelf if I wanted to.
Yeah, they went to the same school as my parents.
Yeah, if I want to be safe in my home, then my needs were not front and center ever. So
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Gustavo, then Tanya.
Thank you, Jim. I just want to mention, I don't know if this is the right moment or place to mention this, but it's about but I think it's related, and it make us suffer a lot, I think. And it's this thinking injustice as a need. Because most of the time we think as justice as a need is because we think something we're judging as good or bad or right or wrong. And I think the need behind that idea is more equity than justice. So I would like you to hear your thoughts about that, Jim, and everybody else, if somebody can want to talk.
Yeah, I catch what you're saying, that we link the word justice often with righting a wrong. And so there's this deep idea in the world culture of retributive justice, that
and even deserve something or
yes,
get what they deserve. Yeah,
it's the root of violence, this deserve thinking that somebody deserves to be punished because they did something wrong. And it's so deep and old. It's very, very old in us.
Yes.
Maybe 100,000 years old. It goes so deep. It's deep in our DNA.
Yeah, there's nobody probably that you could meet that doesn't have that same programming around right and wrong, good and bad, in terms of who we are and how we are.
And now we're evolving to another style of justice called restorative justice or protective justice. Might be even more a word that I'm liking more and more these days, protective justice or transformative justice, where we look at what has happened from not the point of view of what was wrong in the past, but now what can we do about it from now on? What can we do to balance the needs that have not been satisfied? And beneficial regret is like a first step in creating a justice system that is protective and restorative and transformative.
Yes, but that would be more a strategy, Jim, more than a need. So the transformative justice is the way I see it. The transformative justice, it will be a strategy to fulfill I don't know, equity or some other need, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I actually don't. I'm not offended by the word justice as a need. Different people. Some people may have different opinions about that. I think people can use whatever word they want, and there's pretty good neurological evidence that babies as young as 3 months old have a need for what we might call justice or equity. Both words I think would describe it, where they will measure upset if in experimental situations, if one baby right next to them gets something that they don't get, it can be measured. And so it's really, really deep in us, this desire to make sure that we get our fair share. And so I think it's really at the biological level, this need for equity or justice or whatever you want to call it. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to Tanya, and then we'll finish up with Jeannie and do the second half of the exercise.
In this thing of thinking that we've made a mistake, there is an aspect of traumatic response. And hearing about the buying of the car reminded me of situations where particularly like with doctors, thinking, here's a doctor and the doctor is here to help me. So whatever they say is going to be helpful to me, and not have discernment at that point. But there was also this sense of almost like my mind going blank, like not having access to that discernment under those circumstances. And likewise, and as I shared with my threesome earlier, when I was told this week that I made a mistake, I went into this traumatic response. My prefrontal cortex shut down and my amygdala immediately fired up, and I was having a really hard time retaining what the person was saying to me. And what they were saying to me was what the impact of what I had done had on them and the other people. And when they said, well, what comes up for you having heard this? All I could talk about was myself. And it was basically talking about my intention, or talking about what I had done instead of what they had wanted me to do, rather than being able to focus my attention on the impact that I was being told was present. And it was interesting to me. Those reactions, those traumatic reactions are really interesting to me, that they show up. I don't think I'm unique in this, but they show up around rightness and wrongness.
Yes. Yeah.
In a big way.
Yeah.
So
both stress and trauma can be definitely triggered in moments when we make a mistake or when we think other people have made a mistake. And your description of what can happen with our nervous systems seems very accurate and resonant in me. We kind of go offline. We kind of temporarily go offline, and we become temporarily deaf. We can't process quite the same way. And it's all symptoms. We need empathy or self-empathy in those moments. And yet we don't always even connect that that's what we need, because we're not connected in those moments. So yeah, having
right.
compassion.
And not being able to say, I really want to hold you with care, but right now I'm offline. Can I come back?
Yeah, learning how
Can't
to
even say that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's almost like I want to have a little card in my pocket to be able to pull out and read in moments like that. Yeah. Thank you, Tanya, for bringing that up. And David also mentioned something like that in the chat as well, of the how a trauma response can hijack us and and seems to really take away a lot of our more conscious choices. Jeannie?
Thanks, Jim. I just wanted to say something about what Gustavo was saying. I too am real suspicious about the term justice as a need, because when I do that, it's very likely that I'll fall into right, wrong, should, shouldn't, good, bad, which isn't where as an adult, I want to stay.
Yeah.
And so I've found that if I translate to other needs, it works better for me at getting really to the bottom of what's going on for me.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
also that it's contextual. It's not always something that might be called equity. It really does depend on what's going on, what I but I get
Yeah.
it. So I really loved that challenge of saying, okay, I'm not going to use that one.
Yeah,
It's a
and
great
I love the
challenge for me.
clarity with which you express that. Thank you.
Certain words that we use to describe needs really do have a tendency to move me towards right wrong thinking, like respect,
Yeah.
consideration, justice, sometimes acceptance. When we think that we put ourselves into a little temporary trance, and we think that we confuse a need and a strategy. I need you to respect me. I need you to consider me. I need you to do something just, and so forth.
Yeah, it's what we grew up with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
most of us anyway.
so what being aware of that tendency and then going a little deeper. Okay, so if they did respect me, if there was justice, what would that mean to me? And I think that's how we can unpack it a little more deeply.
Yeah. Great.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Yeah,
I noticed another thing too, and that is doing this exercise here, when I start to think about the needs that were not met, and I imagine how I harmed the trust and the care and the love in the relationship. It's kind of hard for me not to fall right into beating myself up a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have that tendency to use retributive justice on ourselves.
Yeah.
We think that we need to teach ourselves a lesson by making ourselves feel guilt or shame or
Mhm.
depression.
It's just about as well intrapersonally as interpersonal.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's do the second part of the practice. Now let's practice. There's probably another person involved, although you can also talk to yourself. You can communicate your regret to yourself, like in Jeff's case. So the first step to think about, and we'll go through this probably more rapidly than we should, because I want to make sure you have a chance to talk about it in small groups. But just write down just a rough draft. How would you invite connection about this? And then convey your care for the well-being of the other person. So in my case, I might say to Jori, I notice that sometimes I have a tendency to speak in a little bit of a snippy way. And I wonder if you'd be willing to just take maybe 5 minutes and talk about it now.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I really appreciate that, because I really care about our relationship. I care about you. And I realize that sometimes I say or do some things that might have an effect on you that's not fun for you. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So just that brief, just how would you open up a conversation? Write a rough draft. So second step, I know I'm going too fast for many of you. Sorry about that. I regret it already. But how would you express your acknowledgement for the unintended consequences of your action? So this is where you're making a guess about how this might be for the other person. It's an empathy guess. So in my case, I might say to Jori, I imagine when I talk to you in a certain tone, it probably triggers kind of a protective response in you. It's a little bit scary for you.
Yeah, exactly. I get very protective.
Yeah. So again, just that simple, just one sentence. So then the third part would be, how can you confirm your understanding? So I say what I said to Jori. I say something like, I'm imagining when I speak in that tone of voice, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's a little bit scary for you, and it probably triggers a sense of you wanting to protect yourself. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so just notice I ended on a clear and present request to confirm that I was guessing right, to make room for the fact that I might be way off.
Mhm.
And then I could learn something even from my empathy guess. So how could you confirm your understanding or your empathy guess?